visiting Spuds last week looking for my next few beers to do reviews on, I was super happy to find a dry hopped Belgian style triple ale. But then that scratched my memory itch, and I looked back through my history of videos and I found I have recorded another hoppy Belgian style triple from this same brewery, Monkless. So a follow up to Hazy Day in Brussels is now Capitulation. That's a pretty thing. Hmm. Oh, banana and cloves. More common in wheat ales, Hefeweizens, but I suppose not uncommon in Belgian-style ales. So hey, welcome to another episode of Chewing the Brew. It's still relatively early in the morning if my voice doesn't give that away, or the chirping of the birds, or the fact that the sun is still that direction from me. I tend to record these more in the afternoon because, drinking in the morning and all that kind of stuff. But I have been happy with the Monkless Belgian-style ales that I've drunk in the past. These are Belgian tradition minus the monk. Um, they've typically been pretty tasty. I believe I've had Schepelkopf, Hazy Day in Brussels, and then there's now Capitulation. Uh, but triples being a relatively high ABV Belgian style, so I'm expecting a strong sweet maltiness, not necessarily a roasty maltiness. And the color of this being kind of a deep golden is definitely speaking to that. Lots of grain, but the grain has not been roasted very deeply overall, or the majority of the grain involved here has not been roasted very deeply. The head's a bit lacy, and it went away relatively quickly, but not too quickly. And it's happy to come back. It's a bit rocky. Yeah, there's definite banana notes. Like before you get in deeper, like from up here, bananas. There's a little bit of a breeze blowing some of the aromas away. So I'd imagine if you're inside a house, this bouquet is probably going to be quite effusive, quite present. As you get a little deeper in there, there's a definite herbal quality. Maybe almost like parsley. That's interesting. I'm guessing the banana is probably from the yeasts involved, though that is an aroma you might more typically find in Hefeweizens or wheat ales, wit beers and the like. But that doesn't mean you can't use those yeasts in on a different malt bill. This doesn't have any details as to the malts involved on the can, but I just find that interesting that that's kind of the dominant aroma. But yeah, there's definitely there's the malty sweetness that speaks to the strength of the beer, and then there's this nice kind of herbal accompaniment to that that speaks of something more than just one note sweetness. I mean, not that many Belgian ales can claim to be one note sweetness. Their complexity tends to come in large part from the funky yeasts or the funky flavors that their yeasts tend to create, which is one of the things I really like about Belgian style ales in general. And there's definitely some tannins in there, which is interesting. So I recorded my O'Hara's Irish Nitro video, and I remember noting that there was aluminum, a metallic uh, aftertaste or final taste to the beer. And then I watched a very much more respected and experienced and capable beer tuber, the Craft Beer Channel, always worth a follow, talking about the same beer, part of a head-to-head of his Irish beers, and um, and he noted that his final taste was tannins, which you would expect from a uh, more darkly roasted grains. And so that was a really good reminder to me that, that there might be other words for the things I taste, and people with a better palate, but also a more experienced vocabulary. I think that's probably most of the case here because I was able to taste them. I just didn't have the right word to describe what they actually were. And that does remind me of some of the flavors I get from some wines that I enjoy. And and yeah, Yeah, so those were tannins, not a metallic flavor. To me, it does taste a little bit metallic. It's not an offensive thing. It's just more like a kind of a bite at the end of the drink. And and so yeah, that was a I'm always learning. Woohoo. And there is a similar kind of dry tannin note to this, which the way they build malts, they they're selecting for colors and flavors as they are choosing as the brewers are choosing the grains to build their beer out of. And it's highly unlikely or very uncommon that they choose simply one roast of grain. In all likelihood, they're selecting, we want 20% of this type of grain and we want 50% of this, and that'll kind of define the major part of the style, but we're gonna have some darker ones over here and some lighter ones over here as well, and we're just gonna all mix them all together to produce the end result. They're good at that. I've never tried it. So the presence of tannins in this, a relatively light colored beer, and the fact that tannins, I guess, are more likely to come from more or be more notable in more darkly roasted malts seems to indicate to me that there's a likelihood, there's a chance, probably a good chance, that this beer has more than simply light colored malts in it. They added some darker colored malts as part of their attempt to get a particular flavor profile and color. And all that aside, I am now going to start drinking this beer. Oh, oh, that's a party in the mouth. So there's definitely this almost thick malt start. Like you feel that traditional kind of Belgian strong ale, strong blonde ale kind of building, but then it's not like it changes direction, but it simply doesn't go in the same direction. So I guess yes, it does change direction, um, but it doesn't get enough of a start that it feels like it's a juke, right? You feel you're kind of expecting it to go one way only at the very beginning, and then you realize no, that's just the same trailhead but a different trail, and really quickly you get this really pleasant funkiness, and then this the dry hoppiness, this very it is herbal, a little bit slightly floral, petunias. My rooster is making sure we know it's morning. Thank you for um, maybe petunias, some definitely floral. There's herbal and floral character going on here, and it stays in the pasture. We're not looking at I'm not picking up much fruitiness or pine or citrus or anything like that. It stays to the floral and herbal side of things, and it's just this really present, like it's really there, um, extra flavor going on, and then you get kind of the yeast funkiness coming up. So it's this. It feels like it's going to kind of sweet Belgian strong ale, and then really quickly you're getting this strong floral presence and herbal presence, and that has a kind of a funkiness of its own, and then you get that yeast thick funkiness that's really nice on good Belgian ales. And there's definitely the banana in there too to the taste as well, and that might just be because taste is such a combination of the tongue and the nose, the smelling and the taste savoring at the same time. And yeah, you can kind of taste the banana as it goes in too. There is a bit of an effervescence as well that is present throughout actually. Like I was gonna say it was just at the beginning, but no, it's actually continuing through. Mm, this is a really good beer. Like like other Belgian triples and strong blonde ales, it's deceptively drinkable. And the extra, the hoppiness in this I think makes it even more so. Sometimes with a stronger, sweeter beer, I find you're, 3 or 4 swallows in, and then you're thinking, oh, it's just the same thing. It's nice, but it's just cake, or it's just this super sweet, pleasant, but sweet thing. Um, the complexity that is going on here, the floral and herbal middle, and that really nice funky finish, which plays the same role in a really good, traditional one of this style, um, adds some extra dimension that makes this even more pleasant to continue drinking. And for an 8%, yeah, you don't want to, crush a whole lot of these at once. But yeah, be careful. Watch out. It's a good one. Mm, nice. I like this beer. This is a very pleasant beer. I am going to give this, let me think about this. Let me think about this strongly. I am tempted to give it a 3. I am tempted to give it the first 3 out of 3. The reasons are, it is a good beer of its style, which is a pretty narrow style. It's a good riff on what is a good historic style. It has a good foundation. The things they have added to it have made it more than what it was. It's clearly made with skill, and I like it a lot. So that's a good mark in its favor. But I like a lot of other beers, and I still give them 2 stars. Is this good enough to actually earn 3 stars? Is it actually superlative above other beers? I'm going to bite the bullet, and I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. The Monkless Capitulation Dry Hop Belgian-style Triple Ale is 3 out of 3 stars. 3, palm forward. 3 out of 3 stars. It is a beer worth finding and drinking. I believe it'll have relatively broad appeal. Relatively. The hoppiness in it is of such a character. Yes, it's bitter. Okay. But it's not a really strong bitterness. I think the thing that will turn off more people will be the funkiness that is typical to Belgian ales. But it's really good. And I guess 3 stars isn't a popularity contest. It's a beer I would definitely seek out again. They do make, so this is based on their, I believe the Trinity triple. I would definitely be willing to try. This is a really good advertisement for the Trinity triple. But the hops in it that they've added to it make it different and more. And yeah, so I'm going to give this 3 stars out of 3. The first. Yeah, we didn't have to wait too long. Anyways, this is me, Matthew, gushing over Monkless Belgian Ales Capitulation Dry Hop Belgian Style Triple. Now I'll catch y'all on the flip side.